conversation ended an hour ago. Maybe it was a text exchange. Maybe it was something you said at work. Maybe it was a casual comment in a group chat that nobody else thought twice about. But you're still in it, replaying the exact words you used, wondering if your tone came across wrong, thinking about that one sentence, the one that felt fine in the moment but now, an hour later, sounds completely different in your head. Did they take it the wrong way? Were you too much? Not enough? Did you say something that changed how they see you? You know, logically, that you're probably overthinking it. You've been told that before. You've told yourself that before, but knowing it doesn't stop it. And here's what nobody ever told you about why. Here's what's actually strange about this. You don't do this with every conversation. You don't replay the ones that went well, the ones that felt easy, the ones where you left feeling connected and understood. You replay the ones where something felt uncertain, where the other person's reaction was hard to read, where you couldn't tell if they were okay with what you said, where the ending felt slightly unresolved, not bad, just open. And your brain latches onto exactly that openness and won't let it go. This isn't anxiety. This isn't insecurity. This is something much more specific and much more understandable than either of those labels suggest. It starts with something called rejection sensitivity. Not rejection itself, the anticipation of it. The nervous system's heightened awareness of any signal that might mean disapproval, disconnection, or a shift in how someone sees you. For most people, this awareness exists in the background. It registers briefly and moves on. But for people with high rejection sensitivity, and research suggests this is far more common than most people realize, the nervous system doesn't move on. It zooms in, it analyzes, it runs the scene again and again, looking for what it might have missed. Psychologist Geraldine Downey at Columbia University spent decades studying this trait, and what she found was striking. People with high rejection sensitivity aren't imagining threats. They're detecting real ambiguity, real uncertainty in social situations, and then amplifying it. Their nervous system is doing more work, not worse work. The difference isn't accuracy. The difference is volume. And here's where it gets important. Rejection sensitivity doesn't develop randomly. It almost always traces back to early experiences, environments where approval was unpredictable, where you couldn't quite read whether someone was pleased or disappointed, where the emotional temperature of a room shifted without warning, and you learned very early to track every signal carefully. Because tracking carefully kept you safe. Because reading the room, accurately, completely, meant you could adjust before something went wrong. Your brain learned that skill young, and it never unlearned it. But there's a second layer. The conversations you replay aren't random. They follow a very specific pattern. They're conversations where you were visible, where you expressed an opinion, showed a feeling, made a joke, revealed something true about yourself, where you put something real into the interaction, and then waited to see how it would land. Psychologists call this the spotlight effect, the tendency to overestimate how much other people notice and evaluate what we say and do. Most people experience this mildly. For highly sensitive people and those with rejection sensitivity, it runs much deeper. Because what you're really tracking isn't just what you said. You're tracking what the other person now knows about you. Whether showing that part of yourself was safe. Whether you are still, after that conversation, acceptable. Likable. Okay. And your brain will keep the file open. Keep replaying. Until it gets a signal that the answer is yes. The problem is that signal rarely comes. Because other people move on. Because they weren't analyzing your words the way you were. Because the conversation that consumed your last 2 hours was, for them, already forgotten by the time they put their phone down. Here's the reframe. The replaying isn't the problem. The replaying is trying to solve a problem. It's just solving the wrong one. Your brain thinks the problem is the conversation. That if you analyze it enough times, you'll find the thing that went wrong, fix it retroactively in your mind, and feel safe again. But the actual problem isn't in the conversation. It's in the question underneath the conversation. Am I still okay? Am I still accepted? Did showing that part of myself cost me something? And no amount of replaying the conversation will answer that question. Because that question isn't about what you said. It's about whether you are fundamentally safe to be seen. That's a deeper question, and it has a different answer than the one you're looking for in the words you chose. The answer isn't in the conversation. It's in learning, slowly, with evidence, that being seen doesn't have to be dangerous. That the real ones don't leave because you had an awkward moment. That most people are far too busy managing their own internal replay to remember the exact sentence that's been living in your head rent-free for the last 3 hours. So the next time it starts, the replay, the second guessing, the slow-motion review of something that's already over, try this. Notice it. Don't fight it. Don't tell yourself to stop overthinking, because that never works. Instead, ask the question underneath it. Not, did I say the right thing? That one has no answer. But this one. Am I afraid of something specific right now? And is that fear based on what actually happened? Or on something I learned a long time ago about what happens when people see me clearly? Because 9 times out of 10, what you're replaying isn't really about this conversation. It's about an older one. One where the stakes were higher. One where the ending mattered more than you've ever let yourself say out loud. You don't overthink conversations because something is wrong with you. You do it because you learned, somewhere along the way, that being truly seen was something you had to earn. And you're still trying to earn it, in every exchange, with people who would tell you, if they only knew you were asking, that you already have it. If this described you, share it with someone who would never admit they do the same thing. And if you want to keep understanding your mind, stay here. There's so much more.